Hello, Nikita ma'am. Welcome to the show. A tremendous honor to have you. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Akash, for having me on the show today.
That is
So, yeah. So, like, it's a very formal way of introducing and all that, but, that calls for this thing. So, hello, everyone. Myself, Nikita Prabhakar. I am the counseling psychologist. And I used to work at a lot of hospitals and other education institute, and currently I'm working with Amity, and it's great privilege actually to work with the young population, to understand their mind and help them to cope up with day-to-day activities. So yeah, as all psychologists say, I have done this, that, education qualification, but more than I wanted to say that that I specialize in making an unhappy person more or less happy and bring a smile
right.
on their face. So I probably deal with more of positive psychology concepts and all that, and that's what we are specialized in.
Right. So the topic we are going to talk on is mindfulness. So can we start can you explain what is mindfulness?
Okay, so generally this concept like mindfulness हम सबने कहीं कहीं सुना हुआ
Mm-hmm.
है. We have heard it somewhere कि mindfulness क्या होता है. It's very exciting, बड़ा 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 it's something which is of very great curiosity to learn. बट अगर हम बहुत ही बेसिक लेमन लैंग्वेज में बोले तो हमें बचपन से ना हमारे पेरेंट्स एक चीज बोलते थे, ध्यान से करो, यू नो
Mm-hmm.
इस काम को ध्यान से करो, इस काम में ध्यान लगाओ, पढ़ाई में ध्यान लगाओ. So basically this concept of mindfulness has generated from a long way back of the our centuries, where it just in a layman terms means dhyan. So mindfulness is something which is like an awareness of the present moment. How aware am I at the present moment?
Mm-hmm.
We all have our senses. How much I'm using my own senses and engaging completely with
Mm-hmm.
the conscious mind to do whatever I'm doing. Suppose हम जैसे यहाँ पे we are having this conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
how mindfully with all my senses I am aware in this moment and listening to what Akash is saying. Akash is listening to what I'm saying. So engaging with your conscious mind is
Mm-hmm.
generally what is termed as mindfulness.
Right. And what are its advantages?
Okay, so advantages, देखो, mindfulness generally has a lot of advantages because
Mm-hmm.
obviously we all want to completely be in the present moment,
Right.
and pay our attention to our feelings, our thoughts and responses, and completely experience something.
Mm-hmm.
Just say for agar matlab if you are attending some kind of workshop, seminar, or you're in your office, or you're in a school, you're in college, and just say for say कि आप कुछ भी पढ़ रहे हो या somebody is trying to teach you something, but you're not able to respond to that person and completely experience it. So
Right.
that particularly means that you are having a mindless thing. You are not mindful of something. So
Mm-hmm.
सबसे पहला benefit mindfulness का I would say यही होता है that as a human being we all want to have personal growth. हमें आगे बढ़ना है. We all want to be aware of our own self. So practicing mindfulness is all about personal growth and bettering your everyday life through self awareness, because all of us have certain kinds of strengths, our weaknesses. We are not perfect individuals, right? ना आप हो, ना मैं हूं, ना कोई भी है. So अगर हम माइंडफुलनेस को प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो सबसे पहला बेस्ट बेनिफिट एंड द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज विल बी मोर सेल्फ अवेयर. हम
Mm-hmm.
अपने आप को समझेंगे, हमारे स्ट्रेंथ्स क्या हैं, हमारे वीकनेसेस क्या हैं, हमारे हमारे लिए क्या अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, what am I good at, and all these things actually comes with one concept of mindfulness.
Can it also
और
make you more productive?
right, it also makes you more productive. अगर हम ध्यान से करेंगे, we'll be more aware of something, so we'll be more
Mm-hmm.
productive, right? We'll have better concentration, we'll have high self-esteem, we'll be
Right.
more happy. So
Right.
all these things are something which all of us has to do in everyday practices, or
Mm-hmm.
it's not something of a very big deal. हम बहुत तरीके से ये कर सकते हैं, and it's always wonderful to connect yourself, your feelings and emotions, and respond equally to it. So this is basically the best benefit is you'll be more self-aware, you'll have better concentration, you'll be more engaging yourself in your environment. आप सोच समझ के respond करोगे ना, not just कि भाई कोई thought आया और कुछ environment में हो रहा है ना, I'm just responding. No, I'm aware that what is happening and then I'm responding. So
Right.
आपके responses भी बड़े, you know, it would be very different अगर आप mindlessly response करोगे and mindfully response करोगे. So it will completely be different.
How can one incorporate mindfulness in their routine?
ये तो बहुत ही मतलब एकदम वो वाला क्वेश्चन which everyone you know wants to learn. देखो there are various ways. सब आप गूगल करो आपको सब मिल जाएगा. आप ये करो मेडिटेशन करो फलाना करो ढिमकाना करो. But I am going to share my personal experience, Akash, that what I felt that I also do on everyday practices, and even I incorporate those things of mindfulness to my students and tell them also. So मैं आपको बेसिक कुछ मतलब 5 तरीके बताऊंगी जो आप माइंडफुलनेस एवरीडे प्रैक्टिस एवरीडे में कर सकते हो. नॉट मेडिटेशन बट इन एवरीडे लाइफ रूटीन में, राइट? So पहला way of practicing and incorporating mindfulness is mindful walking. What happens that हम चलते तो रोज है, right? And कई बार जब आप चल रहे होते हो ना आप किसी से टकरा जाते हो या आप देखते नहीं हो आपका पैर किसी चीज में चला जाता है. Probably that means you're not aware and you're just walking. जैसे भेड़ चाल में एनिमल्स चलते हैं ना, चले जाओ, जैसे शीप्स चल रही होती हैं और समथिंग लाइक दैट. But mindfulness walking क्या होता है? When you are walking, be aware of how many steps you are taking. Be aware that what is my walk? Am I walking straight? Is my posture all right? How many steps am I taking while walking? 1, 2, 3, 4. And being aware of what is happening in my surroundings. उसको हम बोलते हैं mindfulness walking. कि जब आप चल रहे हो तब भी आप mindfulness practice कर सकते हो. By mindfully keeping in mind that how are you walking? Are you walking straight? You know, how many steps are you taking? Are you walking too fast? Are you walking too slow? So इसको हम बोलते हैं mindful walking. पहला. दूसरा is very interesting. It can be drinking and eating. अब आप mindfulness खाते और पीते हुए कैसे practice कर सकते हो? While you're eating, you know, if I'm eating any kind of food, be mindful about what is the taste of the food. How when I'm eating, how is it getting swallowed in my tongue? You know, how sweet it is, how bitter it is. Having each and every जिसको बोलते हैं ना मजे से खाना, in short. So that is called mindful eating. Means if you're eating whatever, what is the taste of it? You know, how, is it too big of a bite? Is it of too small of a bite? And what does it taste like? Is it bitter? Is it sweet? So whenever you're eating something, being aware of the taste, the texture, and everything which is related to that concept, that is mindfulness eating. अब पानी पीते हुए या why how can we practice mindfulness while drinking? Just for sake we are having a cup of coffee in our hand, ठीक है? So when we are drinking that cup of coffee, how hot it is, how cold it is, what is the taste of it, how much sweet it is. तो बोलते हैं ना एक एक चीज को आप एकदम मस्त होके खाओ, you know just feel each and every bite and taste. You know, you won't believe, even if I'm having water ना तो पानी का स्वाद तो कुछ नहीं होता, it's plain. Right. But while I'm drinking water, I literally feel that there's a taste of it. Yeah. And that is called mindful drinking. Because even while you're drinking water, you feel that there is a slight sweet taste. You know, when the droplets of water are going through my throat, how does it feel? Not just pani pee liya or chalo glass rakh diya. Which we 90% of us do that because हमारे पास time ही नहीं होता. अगर हम यही करते रहेंगे तो you know we can't do other things. But जो भी करो ना बिल्कुल ध्यान से करो और पूरा taste लेके करो. Even you're eating something or you're drinking it. That is mindfulness, eating and drinking. Now the third way of practicing other is bathing. हम नहाते हुए भी mindfulness practice कर सकते हैं. अब वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? While we are bathing, whether we are bathing in a shower or whether we are bathing in a bucket, while the droplets of water are going on your body, how warm the water is, you know, and feeling and every droplet of water going through your body, and just enjoying the fact of taking a bath also,
Right.
how warm or cold the water is, how is it too fast on my body, what is the texture of it, whatever. That is called mindfulness bathing. ये नहीं कि बस नहाए धोए और भागे कपड़े पहने और भाग गए,
Mhm.
ऐसा नहीं। आप नहाते हुए भी उस पानी की ड्रॉपलेट्स जो आपकी बॉडी में जा रही है, जस्ट कीपिंग अटेंशन टू देम, you know that is called mindfulness bathing, which is very beautiful. And आप एक बार प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू करो, जब आप नहाओ, जब आप खाना खाओ या जब आप चलो ना, आपको अपने में ही बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस लगेगा, आप बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंट फील करोगे, यू विल फील वेरी हैप्पी। एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली अ मैजिकल प्रोसेस। मैं इसलिए कह रही हूँ बिकॉज मैं रोज ये करती हूँ, every day I'm doing it. So when you come out of your bath na, you actually feel so fresh, so happy कि यार आज बहुत अच्छा लगा नहा के, that is mindfulness bathing. Now the fourth thing is while working, जब हम काम कर रहे होते हैं we can practice mindfulness. अब probably हम कॉलेज में पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं तो वो भी काम है, हम स्कूल में पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं तो वो भी काम है, मैं ऑफिस में बैठी हूँ तो वो भी काम है, in your professional setup. So whenever or whatever you are working, the important thing is be mindful of it. Suppose
Mhm.
I am writing with a pen, मेरे हाथ में पेन है और पेपर है और मैं लिख रही हूँ, तो just paying attention to the words I am writing. What is my handwriting? How neat I am writing. उस चीज की एक अवेयरनेस होनी, एंड पूरा ध्यान से वो काम करना, ना कि अच्छा मैं पानी भी पी रही हूँ, मैं लिख भी रही हूँ, मैं वहां से किसी को बुला भी रही हूँ, मैं ये भी कर, नो, not like that. Whatever you are doing, just pay complete attention to it
Mhm.
and be aware of what you are doing. That
Mhm.
is working while practicing
Right.
mindfulness while you're working.
Uh-huh.
The last way is most important, जो 90 के 99% of Indians हम करते नहीं है, that is active listening,
Same.
right? So we
Uh,
can practice mindfulness while listening.
mhm.
Just for sake how, while somebody is talking, so you are at the listening end. So what is the tone of that person? What is the pitch of that person? How the person is using his or her own words. So
Mhm.
being an active listener is a way of practicing
Mhm.
mindfulness.
So while you are practicing these mindfulness techniques, what, how can you deal with the thoughts that eventually enter your mind? Should you
Right.
fight
So
with
what
them?
always? Yeah, please come. हाँ बोलो. First you finish.
Yeah. So should you fight with them or should you just accept them?
ओके, सो मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली, ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता कि अगर हम कुछ काम करें तो हमारे
Mhm.
माइंड में देयर आर नो थॉट्स व्हिच रन, इट ऑब्वियसली विल रन.
Right.
सो व्हाइल यू आर वर्किंग, जस्ट लेट द थॉट्स कम, पे अटेंशन टू देम एंड लेट देम मूव ऑफ. डोंट सप्रेस दोज थॉट. सपोज मैं अपना अभी ऑफिस का काम कर रही हूँ, आई हैव अ पेन इन माय हैंड एंड आई एम डूइंग सम ऑफिशियल वर्क, राइट? अब उस टाइम मेरे दिमाग में थॉट आएगा, मैं घर पे जो खाना बना के आई थी वो सबने खा लिया होगा ना, मतलब जो मैं उस किचन में रख के आई थी वो खराब तो नहीं. सो आई हैव थाउजेंड थॉट इन माय हेड व्हाइल आई एम वर्किंग. सो व्हाट टू डू, दैट लेट दैट थॉट कम, पे अटेंशन टू दैट एंड लेट दैट मूव ऑफ. ये नहीं कि मैं माइंडफुलनेस इसको नहीं बोलते कि मैं काम कर रही हूँ तो कोई थॉट नहीं आना चाहिए दिमाग में, बस लिखे जाओ. नो, whatever thought is coming to your mind, just let that thought come, pay attention to that thought and let it pass by. And let me tell you something, Akash, आपके ओवर थिंकिंग कब होती है? ओवर थिंकिंग आपकी तब होती है जब आप अपने थॉट्स को सप्रेस करते हो, जब आप अपने थॉट्स को अटेंशन नहीं देते या फिर ओवर अटेंशन दे देते,
Mhm.
right? That is the concept where too much of overthinking comes. So let those thoughts come, pay attention to them and let them follow
I think of
eventually.
thoughts as a class bully कि आप जितना उससे लड़ोगे, कितना फाइट करोगे, वो और आपको परेशान करेगा. But जब आप, if you just let it be, eventually that will subside.
ये तो ऑब्वियस है. देखो, अगर आप बोलते हैं ना, अगर आप अपने छोटे भाई बहन को पोक करोगे, वो आपको पोक करेंगे, तब आप ज्यादा गुस्सा होगा. अगर आप दोनों आराम से शांति से बैठे हो तो कुछ नहीं होगा. सो
Mhm.
आपके थॉट्स अगर आ रहे हैं, आप उसको टेंशन देके वो चला जाएगा, बट आप उसको ओवर अटेंड करो, कंप्लीटली उसके बारे में सोचना शुरू कर दो,
Mhm.
दैट थॉट विल आल्सो गेट सेल्फ एंटरटेन्ड, एंड दैट थॉट विल कीप ऑन पोकिंग यू. आपको वो नेगेटिव थॉट लूप में आना शुरू हो जाएगा, अ लूप ऑफ थॉट्स विल स्टार्ट कमिंग. सो that will be again of no use and get on your negative thoughts, anxiety, stress, all these things will come up eventually.
So these are active ways of how to incorporate mindfulness. But how
Right.
about practicing stillness, taking some time out to actually practice it for some time? So
Right. So
can you
another,
describe meditation?
yeah. So another concept, which is a very new concept, came up right now is mindfulness meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So अब mindfulness meditation क्या होता है and how is it different with normal meditation जो हम करते हैं, है ना? Generally, what happens when we are meditating, we are just sitting in a very comfortable position, right? And we are focusing on our breath. उसको
Right.
हम मेडिटेशन बोलते हैं, या कई लोग इनहेल और एक्सेल करते हैं, उसको मेडिटेशन बोलते हैं. बट माइंडफुलनेस मेडिटेशन क्या होता है, दैट what it's very simple, that it is basically a concept where you are sitting comfortably in a chair or cross leg or whatever, and you're just focusing on your breath and whatever the things are coming in your head, right? जो भी आपके दिमाग में चीजें आ रही हैं, by the time you can write it down or you can channelize them in some other way. It's not something कि बस ध्यान लगा के बैठे और बिल्कुल कंप्लीट मेडिटेशन में हो. नो, माइंडफुलनेस मेडिटेशन इज whatever is coming in your head, be aware of it, and if you feel like writing those down those thoughts, you write it down, and on the same side you keep on focusing on your breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inhaling from your nose, exhaling from your mouth. So practicing mindfulness meditation is actually more or less self compassion, राइट? कि आप कितना ज्यादा अपने बारे में कंपैशनेट हैं, हाउ वेल यू आर एबल टू फोकस ऑन योर ओन सेल्फ एंड फोकस ऑन योर ब्रेथ. जब
Mm-hmm.
आप सांस भी ले रहे होते हैं ना, आप जब when you breathing, when you're inhaling from your nose and exhaling from your mouth, there's a different kind of rhythmic contractions that you feel of your heart also. So mindfulness is paying attention to them also and keeping
Mm-hmm.
them under control, and don't let other things which is going outside you affect you. And just keep on having that kind of mindset where you
Mm-hmm.
focus on your breathing, right? And if any thoughts are coming up, jot it down and then again start again your thinking also.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something more like आप compassionate हो अपने बारे में and you're practicing that on an everyday basis.
Right. What is your specialization and how can one contact you?
Okay, so my specialization is dealing with the maladaptive issues of teens and adolescents. And if anybody wants to connect or contact me, probably I can give my email address or I can give my contact details. You can book an appointment and you can talk to me if you really want to about basic issues which is going stress, anxiety, any kind of different thought process, overthinking, all these kinds of issues which generally adolescent students have. We have in this. I'm dealing with the most crucial population of college students. So इस एज में ना क्या होता है, जनरली यू आर कमिंग फ्रॉम अ स्कूल वेयर यू वर नॉट दैट मच्योर, नाउ यू आर एंटरिंग अ कॉलेज. तो आप उस एज में है विच इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू हैंडल, and at this particular age, lot of relationship problems, lot of peer pressure, a lot of parental issues are there. So I generally have major dealing with all these issues.
If we talk about brain chemistry, how
Hmm.
can mindfulness impact the chemical structure of your brain and biochemical and neurotransmitters?
Okay, so generally, see, our brain is a very complex structure,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, and psychology deal with the facts of understanding your mind. So,
Mm-hmm.
practicing mindfulness can change, our brain chemistry and helps considerably with the trauma or depression. So,
Right.
if we are having any kind of trauma or any kind of depression, our brain chemistry will also change. All the hormonal imbalances will happen. But mindfulness, if we practice that, it actually affects the areas of our brain which is like
Mm-hmm.
hippocampus, thalamus. So all the areas of our brain actually will change in its own perspective, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, different kinds of areas of a brain that change the perception, that change the body awareness, self-regulation, and self-reflection. So actually, all these areas of a brain will eventually change while you're practicing mindfulness. Now, अगर हम बात करें, scientific MRI scans की और PET CT scans की, so generally all those MRI scans and PET CT scans also show that our brain changes when people practicing mindfulness, scientifically also. Now, होता क्या है, बहुत ही fascinating results हैं, because I also have worked with DRDO and I've worked with different kinds of organizations and hospitals where I've myself seen the fMRI scans of brain, where I feel that when a person is actually coming for a follow-up session and that person is practicing mindfulness, so fMRI scans actually show a significant difference. मैंने अपने सामने देखा है. होता क्या है, जो आपका ब्रेन का पार्ट होता है which is actually leading to the stress, which is your amygdala, which is which plays a role in the stress, actually it shrinks. वो ना shrink होना शुरू हो जाता है, right? And the time it gets shrink ना, you actually get an elevation in your mood, and after practicing mindfulness, the gray matter, which is amygdala, actually becomes very small, and it helps you to become more happy. It releases more endorphins in our body, which are happy hormones. So mindfulness plays a very, 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 very strong impact with the relation of stress, because of the size of the amygdala gets smaller. Second thing is mindfulness and creativity. Now, what happens? The prefrontal cortex, of in the area of our brain, which is responsible for creativity, for problem solving, for planning, emotions. So, जब हम mindfulness practice करते हैं ना, तो जो हमारा gray matter होता है, that starts becoming thick after practicing mindfulness, and which shows a increased activity in all these areas of thought. So we get more creative. Our problem solving skills get much better because there the gray matter becomes more thicker, right? And that makes us much more aware about getting our problem sorted out, or controlling your emotions. That is very important. एक और important thing है हमारी memory के साथ, because हम जो भी we are dealing with a day-to-day issue, sometimes we start having the tendency of forgetting things. So mindfulness and memory also have a great correlation. How that an area of a brain जिसको हम hippocampus बोलते हैं, it helps in memory and learning, right? So this area becomes thicker after practicing mindfulness again, which actually makes us much more active learners, and we tend to forget less. So that part of the brain, which is hippocampus, also becomes very thick in its lining. And you can see it very familiar if you're having a follow-up session of a patient of a long time, and you can see the two pre and post fMRI scans. तो आप देख सकते हो कि mindfulness या meditation practice करने के बाद उसका stress का level, the level of creativity, the memory actually has a drift. Even not in young students or young people, but in old age people also.
Right. True.
That also happens.
Right. So this thickening of the gray matter, can it also have an impact on empathy?
Yes, it completely happens an impact on empathy, because empathy, what is empathy? Empathy is, putting yourself in other person's shoes, understanding their emotions. So probably the more we meditate and the more we follow mindfulness, we find ourselves more calmer,
Right.
more peaceful, and comfortable in our own skin, right? And our thoughts also slow down, and we feel less anxious and depressed. So होता क्या है that we can be more empathetic when we are comfortable in our own skin. अगर हम खुद से comfortable नहीं है, तो हम दूसरों से क्या empathize करेंगे? So generally, people have kind of issues with empathy where they have a lot of disagreements, right? So being mindful of your friends or your partner's needs play an important role in disagreements. So hota kya, too often we make a conflict, or too often we have someone we want to win an argument. So generally, when we are practicing mindfulness, we get more empathetic because we know that what is our comfort zone and how comfortable we are in our own skin. So we don't actually, we have an attitude, we form an attitude that win at all cost or lose at all. So इसको हम बोलते हैं toxicity relationship में. When this thing comes that I need to win at any cost and at least I don't need to lose. So this creates a toxicity in relationships. So we get less empathetic. So the more we are able to be comfortable in our own skin, the lesser disagreements we have with our friends or parents or our partner or anyone. So it plays a very important role.
How can mindfulness be used as a coping tool when you are having a panic attack?
Okay. So generally, hota kya hai? Panic attack arises out of a situation where you are not comfortable with something, or you have a
Mm-hmm.
trauma which is recent, or you are having again a loop of thought which is actually disturbing you, and those negative thoughts lead you to breathlessness or palpitations or tremors at times. So when you're practicing mindfulness, the fact of having a panic attack generally reduces.
Mm-hmm.
Why I'm saying that? Because you are much more aware of your present feelings and emotions, and you're able to channelize them well. So
Mm-hmm.
panic attack आने के chances ही कम.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right.
Because you are mindful of the situation now, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
not having a negative loop of thoughts, neither you are bothered with whatever is going in your environment. So the chances of having a panic attack is very less. Even
Mm-hmm.
if it is coming, the best way to deal with this is through deep breath, which everyone says. And going into the fresh air and breathing, exhaling and inhaling, that concept is actually very helpful, and it helps to combat your panic attacks.
I think we should stop here in half an hour.
It's fine. And if you have any other thing to ask, it's most welcome to answer that also. Acha,
Okay.
one concept I wanted to understand and tell is that if with practicing mindfulness, one
Mm-hmm.
can also practice progressive muscle relaxation techniques.
Right.
Which is something for your muscular relaxation. And it helps you to calm your own nerves. So there are a lot of things that I do practice with my patients and clients. So this actually helps you to make yourself relax and
Mm-hmm.
boost your own self-esteem, and
Mm-hmm.
helps you to control your negative emotions too. This concept I would recommend everyone to practice, which is called the progressive muscle relaxation technique, which actually helps to boost mindfulness as well.
It can also
Because
help you. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, it's fine. Please tell me.
It can also help you with pain, right?
Yes, it also helps you with pain, because what happens here is that you need to tense and relax your muscles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And generally that happens and starts from your forehead. You start tensing and relaxing your muscles and going down to your foot. So it actually helps you to lessen the pain also,
Mm-hmm.
not only psychological but physical pains.
True. Right.
This is something which is of a really important thing that we all should start doing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you so much for your time. I'll stop the recording here.
Yeah.